Let's pin down two terms, audit and inspection, from quality management in PMBOK. Hi, I'm Ashwini Rao. I have been helping PMP exam aspirants to crack the exam in their first attempt almost for 15 years now. Let's understand first what is audit. You may have heard in organizations when people say we are conducting internal audit, or we have a product audit tomorrow, or product certification audit. These are all very common terms in organization we get to hear. Then, what is audit? Audit is all about trying to check whether the process or the system that we have put in place or the product that we have developed, is it working for us or not? Which means trying to look at the systemic problem areas and try to eliminate them. How do we carry out this audit? Audit is always carried out by checking the adherence to the set standards through objective evidence. No conclusion in audit is arrived just based on verbal communication. What we seek is the objective evidence of the process adherence or the system adherence. And in any country, the regulatory requirements and the compliance requirements are always verified through audit. So audit is an integral part of our regulatory requirements, compliance requirements. Audit is preventive in nature. We conduct this audit even if everything else is still going right. Intention is, as we said, to identify the problem areas and try to eliminate them. Whereas inspection is different from audit. Inspection is all about examining a output or the deliverable or a work product that you have built, you have come up with. For example, I completed the design phase and we did come up with a design document as a team, and this design document is scanned or scrutinized and made sure, or try at least make an attempt to see if there are any defects, try to remove those defects so that defective product doesn't reach customer's hand. So intention is to find defects in the deliverable, whereas audit, it is not a fault finding exercise. So in a way, you can say inspection is a fault finding exercise where we try to detect defects and try to fix them and then deliver the product to customer. So that is why we say inspection is corrective in nature. For the product or the process which has already been executed or the product which is already built, we try to check if there are any defects and try to fix them. So audit is preventive in nature, whereas inspection is corrective in nature. If you really look at the differences in terms of types of audit, primarily we said audits are conducted to see the success of process, product, and the system. So the types of audit are also segregated in the same way. So we say process audit, product audit, and system audit. Process audit, very simple, where we check the adherence, the way the processes are being followed, and whether the processes are adhering to the standards that we have selected to adhere to. And we also try and see how effective the process is working and what is the adequacy of the process controls that we have established, is it working or not. Whereas the product audit is always conducted to check the product, whether the requirements of the product standards are met or not. One best example is a software product which involves a payment transaction checked for the product standard of security. For a secure transaction online to happen, there's a standard that has been defined for any payment gateway. So when we conduct and certify the product to say, yes, it adheres to this particular standard, we call that as product audit. Whereas the system audit as a holistic system is audited in order to check whether the company policies are being adhered to or not, or are we adhering to any regulatory. For example, in a particular country, if there is a rule that at the end of each financial year, the tax must be paid. So there may be an audit conducted to check, is the organization adhering to this particular regulatory requirement of payment of tax? Or for that matter, any contractual commitments or any such things, when they are audited, we call them as system audit. Whereas when we talk about inspections, inspection generally in the process of trying to build a particular deliverable, particular product, at a large stage, yes, we can talk about the 4 stages of inspection that is carried out. One, which we usually call it as pre-production inspection. That means incoming material, incoming raw material, incoming equipment or goods, which will be used to build a product, just to make sure in itself they are adequate, they are complete. A check may be performed. So that is called pre-production inspection. Whereas what we carry out during the production, in terms of while the assembly is happening or while the product is being built, there may be inspections carried out. Now these can be carried out even for intermittently assembled components. Whereas final product inspection, many a time, sometimes this can also be based on random sampling. The final product inspection is once the entire product is assembled, the check that is performed, we call that as final product inspection. So predominantly, in the most common one in many industries that we see is final product inspection. Not that pre-production and during production does not happen, but to a large extent, the most common one is yes, final product inspection. Whereas in few cases where we are talking about handling fragile products which may get damaged during transit, or whether there are any unconventional packing that is involved in shipping that particular product, there may be another level of inspection while the loading happens. We call that as container loading inspection. The way the loading happens such that when the product reaches customer, it should not be damaged. That kind of process can be ensured through this container loading inspection. So these are the 4 types of inspection. We understood what is audit and what is inspection. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. Thank you, and all the very best for your exam preparation.